Reset my life with me while I unpack, sort, tidy, do laundry, and generally try and get my house in some sort of order after being away for 6 nights on a cruise and then being incredibly unwell when we got back and not doing anything for a couple of days. So let's look at what we're dealing with. And oh dear, so much stuff. I've not even opened the cases yet. I've dumped stuff in my office. The children have been creating their very own cruise to try and relive the magic. So I need to move some of that stuff. But first, I'm going to go through my post-trip reset checklist. So this is available inside of my clubs, whether in my Organised Life Club or my Magical Adventures Club. And you can grab this checklist and go through it with me when you get back from your trips. So I'm going to pop it inside of my little mini binder, which is how I'm planning out my life these days. If you go to mummyoffour.com/mini binder, you can learn all about that. But basically, this is the list we're going through. We've got a lot of little things to do, from unpacking, resetting the suitcases, and resetting the house, which is a right old tip. It's been a lot of laundry that hasn't been done because we've been away and then for another few days since getting back. If you've seen my reset unpack videos before, you'll know normally I really like to get things done as soon as we get back, but I was just absolutely wiped out. So it is what it is. Let's get my running shoes on. These are my indoor shoes. Let's get some earbuds in my ears so I can have some motivational music or podcast or something to listen to. It could be a YouTube video. But I like to have something to keep me company while I'm doing this. So maybe I'm keeping you company while you're cleaning and resetting. And I find if I've got an earpod in, then I can walk away from whatever I'm watching or listening to and still hear what's going on. So let's start by just moving all the children's cruise ship that they've made out of the way. Grab my baskets. If you've watched my videos before, you'll know I love a basket for sorting things, categorizing things, moving things to where they need to be, decluttering, packing, unpacking. They're an absolute game changer. I'm enlisting the help of the children just to move things from when they are to where they need to be. So I'm going to do all the sorting and then just ask them to help me shift things. So all of the cases are in what's sometimes the playroom and what's sometimes our eldest's bedroom. When he's home, he's actually coming home in a few days, and it's just been a dumping ground for cases. So let's move everything into the living room and make a big old mess. And the problem is, I think, with unpacking is when I pack to go away, I pack quite logically and I know where things are. Packing to come home is more a case of stuffing things in the case in any which way. Everything's a bit more disorganized and higgledy-piggledy. So I couldn't just say open one case and everything's in there. And maybe I could spend a bit more time logically repacking, but ultimately I'm giving up some of our trip to do that. So I do not enjoy packing to come home. Hence why this is all now such a mess. So these little luggage tags the children want to put in their scrapbooks. Things live in the case are going to go back in the case. So things like those hair bobbles on a carabiner, some of these sprays and things are going back in the case. That is a magnesium sleep spray that I put on the children's feet. That's going back in. I always put things like anything that could leak inside other bags. So sometimes like those blue bags are food bags. That's some crease releaser. We couldn't actually take a steamer with us because we went on a cruise. We went on a Disney cruise. That's all on my other channel, my Magical Adventures channel. If you love Disney, then check that out. But we couldn't take a steamer. It wasn't allowed on board. So that was like a little roller thing for my hair. That's gone back in. And certain things just live in the case. So like I said in my reset checklist, then certain things that live in the case need to be checked and go back in. Now, we barely used any of the toiletries in that toiletry bag, which live in the case. I've checked it. It's going back in. All these things, that's a pack away bag. Medical supplies, we didn't touch that, and I checked that before the trip, so that can just go back in the case. And then next time I'm packing, I don't have to think, have we got the right stuff? This is some Calpol and ibuprofen, which is children's medicine, which, touch wood, we do not need on our next trip. Luckily, we didn't need on this trip. That's my hair curler, the heatless curler system I use. That's going back in the case because I have one that lives at home, one that lives in the case, and that way I don't have to do any last minute packing. Certain hair brushes and things that just stay in the case. Makes packing for next time so much easier. And now I've got that Shark, it's not a Dyson, it's a Shark Air something. I did a whole video of it. It's on my channel, but basically it's a hairdryer hairstyler thing that I can use to straighten my hair. My old hair straightener can live in the case, as with the girls' sleepy masks and the silk pillow scrunchy things that live in the case for when I'm not curling my hair. These toothbrushes will go back in the case, as with my makeup brushes, but they need a wash first because yucky. If we put just manky makeup brushes and saliva-filled toothbrushes back in the case, that's just germ breeding ground waiting to happen, isn't it? So that's one case sorted-ish. We still got all this to deal with. Oh, yay. Oh, anyone else overwhelmed and want to give up already? Just me? Okay, never mind. Let's keep going. So let's get into what's in this case. This is a lot of swimwear. So most of that is going to need, well, it's all going to need washing. Some of the girls' dressing up dresses. Certain things, they're like those dressing up dresses, the Belle and the Cinderella, they wore for something called Royal Court Royalty. We just sailed on the Disney Fantasy. It was amazing. And this was an experience that the girls went to, but they literally wore those dresses for 2 hours. So those have just been given back to them. They can put back in their dressing up. I've emptied out another case. Winning at life, sort of. Still a lot to go. Those are ponchos. Luckily, we didn't need them, but we have got a theme park trip coming up. So I'm going to put those back in the case for our next trip, because if you buy a poncho in a theme park, it costs a small fortune. If you buy them on Amazon before you go and chuck them in and then it rains, you're good to go. A lot of the stuff I'm pulling out of the case is stuff that we'd purchased on board that I need to put aside to film a haul video. So that's what a lot of that stuff is. That's kind of in the top right hand corner of your screen. And then some things are Disney trip specific. So the packing cube full of the Pirate Night costumes, the bits that need to be washed, obviously have gone in the washing. I've got a lot of baskets behind me of stuff that needs to be washed. But some of the Pirate Night stuff, like my corset and the girls' I don't know, the eye patches and things, didn't need to be washed. They've just gone straight back in the case for our next Disney cruise trip. That bag was one of the ones that I picked up on board, and I'm just going to stuff it full of the stuff that needs to be filmed in the haul video, and that can all go in my office to deal with later. And that was the passports. Luckily found those. Those need to go away in the safe place. We keep them in the house. And I've got a lot of bits and pieces that we gathered on the trip that the girls want to scrapbook, as I mentioned. So I'm having a pile of those. There's a basket of things that are going to my room, things that are going to each of the children's rooms, things that need to be washed, things that need to be sorted. And this is where baskets come in so handy, because otherwise there'd just be piles of things. With baskets, you can carry them, move them room to room, sort them later. So much easier. All these little Loungefly bags I tend to use as packing cubes, which is much more efficient on the way out than the way back. On the way back, they get stuff full of all sorts of random things, but it helps them keep their shape in the case because they're not being squashed too much because they're full. And also it's a good way to take more bags and things because you're utilising the space inside by using them as a packing cube. So that one was stuffed full of ears. They'll all need to go away. All the bags themselves need to go away. They live on hooks in the children's bedrooms. We'll have to transport all of this stuff upstairs. Previously, I did used to unpack a lot more in my bedroom, but ultimately then I'd have to bring all the washing back down. I am still feeling rather under the weather at this point from feeling ill after the trip. I don't think for a second I got ill on the trip. I think it was just feeling really run down. I think I must have picked something up in the surfaces because the cruise was just like the cleanest place I've ever been on earth. But good grief, I've been ill for a few days. So all this washing has just been waiting for me. My husband did say, did I want him rather to put some washing on? But I knew as soon as he opened the cases, then there'd be stuff everywhere and he wouldn't know what to do with it, and the house would be even messier, and I would just be forced to, or I wouldn't be forced to, no one would be forcing me, but I would feel the urge to then stop resting, which I was feeling so ill and I needed to do, and I just want to sort it all out. So at least didn't make all this mess till I was capable of doing it. The problem is now I'm sitting in an ADHD paralysis. I've hit that point where I'm like, oh, I've made all this mess and I've got to keep going. Oh, I don't want to keep going, but come on, let's do it. So this little bag, this is a food bag. We stayed one night in a Premier Inn before we boarded the cruise, and I didn't want to take all of the dirty washing onto the cruise with me. That seemed a bit silly. So I just put all of the washing from the first night, all the dirty stuff, in that bag, and we left that in the car so we didn't have to take that onto the ship. So that's what that was all about, and can always recommend doing that. We always take our cases with us into a hotel if we're staying somewhere the night before, say the night before travel, like getting on a cruise or a plane or something, because I figured the car would be insured. Okay, so if someone stole the car, it would be really, a pain. It wouldn't be great, but we could still get on the ship. If someone stole the car with all the stuff in it, we could get on the ship, but we wouldn't have anything to wear. So that's why we always take the cases inside. And if, by the way, you don't know, I have got an Organised Life Club. And if you, like me, are maybe an ADHD mum, maybe you've got Neuro-Spicy children, or maybe you just think, wow, mum life is a lot. I'd love to get a bit more organised, have some systems. The Organised Life Club is the place for you. So if you head to mummyoffour.com/OLC, and I will see you inside of the club. We do monthly planning parties. You can get all the printables to help you get organised, all of the ways to plan and tackle all the stuff like this that we have to tackle. It feels so overwhelming as a mum, especially when you've just been on a trip and maybe you've overdone it a bit and you're tired, and your real hangover is all this washing. As I mentioned, I've been unwell for a few days and so ill. I think it was my body just having run so low because I've just burned the candle at both ends a little bit, trying to run round before we left, get everything done, trying to make sure everyone got to do everything they wanted to do. I think my immune system just gave up and went, oh, the most basic of germs just knocked me out. And I think normally I go from feeling really ill to as soon as I don't feel ill, I think, wow, I'm better now. I can just keep going. And that's just not the case. By the way, those are the toothbrushes that live in the case. They're going in the dishwasher to wash off all the manky yuckiness so that when they go back in the case, they're nice and fresh. Anyway, I'm experimenting this thing called trying to take it easy while I recover and not jump back into things a million miles an hour. It's new. I'll let you know how it goes. But that's why the unpacking took a bit longer than anticipated. So that's all the resort mugs and the popcorn buckets washed from the trip. They need to dry off and they can be put away. That's some more pirate night stuff that actually was either didn't get worn or doesn't need washing. Those are Disney door magnets. Again, we won't need those until our next trip. Magic Band Plus for either Disney Parks or Disney Cruise Line. And all of those things, in case I'm looking for those things, they're in the Princess Jasmine case, okay, people? You know, when I'm like, where did I put the... They're in the Princess Jasmine case, which I've hidden inside the Little Mermaid case. And if you've got cases like this, you can put one inside the other. It's a really good way to store things if you have limited space like we do. Now, these are all the shoes, or a lot of the shoes that we took away. So they need to go back in our shoe storage once we've finished emptying all the cases and put them away. So Donald's empty, Snow White's empty, those sorted. They can go away. Daisy, who's going to go inside Daisy? There you go. Cinderella is empty and she's inside Daisy. When I'm looking for these things and I can't find them, which this has happened before, and one of you has been like, I know where you put that, Ruth. So thanks in advance for those people that helped me out with those things. So those are the other bits. The Minnie Mouse case is the ones we tend to take most of the time. That will go with us next time we travel. And these will need to all go away. So generally we take Mickey and Minnie if we're just going for a couple of nights, and all the rest of the cases will come if we're going for more nights. So now, children, help mummy, please. Because yes, I am feeling so much better than I was, but I'm still not firing on all cylinders. I am feeling pretty wiped out. This had to be done today because it was just getting to the stage where the washing was building up and building up. I needed to get through it. And it's the drying more than the washing. You've got to get it moving so that you can get all the drying done because there's not enough space for everything. We also need to sort out this shoe drawer. This is a side quest project, isn't it? We can't just put the shoes away because I've just realised it's so full of shoes that actually don't all get worn, because before we went away, the girls realised their sandals didn't really fit, so bought some new ones. And now the old ones are still in this drawer and now there's no space for the new ones. So let's sort the drawer. We do need to still get new school shoes, and that's still on my list. I have got a whole back to school sort of playlist of videos if you're doing all back to school stuff, where we're getting organised for back to school and stuff. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, you check out that playlist if you're doing all the back to school stuff too, if you're tuning in around when this video goes out. There we go. That was a little side quest, but at least it's tidy now. We've now got all these shoes. which either need to be potentially put away for Zara as spares if they're Bella's old shoes, or donated, because if they don't fit Zara, they don't fit anyone. So now, kids, let's get all this stuff upstairs and where it goes. So some of these things are things for each child. That's stuff that get made in the kids club. We took more than we needed, as tends to happen on these trips, because we need to take like leggings in case it's cold. It was actually really nice weather, so all of the leggings that I took for the girls, they didn't wear, they can just be put back away immediately. All of this stuff is laundry that needs to be washed, and it's sorted into loads but needs to be fed through the machine over the next quite a few days, I would imagine, because like I mentioned, we can get through the laundry reasonably quickly, but the drying is limited. I don't dry things outside because we live in Wales, and even on the nicest of days, it sometimes rains. And also birds poop in our garden, and if I had to rewash things I'd already washed, I would cry. So I've still got all this stuff to put away. I'm going to put some of these bags away, but I am running out of steam at this point. I thought I was feeling much better than I was, and suddenly doing stuff has really floored me. So let's empty the dryer so we can get some more stuff put in the dryer. And then what I'll do is when my indoor drying space is full, I'll just prioritize washing things that can be tumble dried. And then I'll have to feed the stuff that can't be tumble dried through the machine at a slower pace in order to keep up with the stuff that can dry. Luckily, it's quite warm, so the stuff's drying quite fast around the place. But it's going to be the stuff that isn't tumble dryable that slows down the whole laundry process, which is why I normally like to get it started as soon as we get home. But honestly, when we got back, I was so wiped out, I could barely open my eyes. So I didn't do what you've seen me do in previous videos and push through. I actually did rest, which means I probably recovered much quicker. And I am trying to be better at doing that and taking the advice I would give to the children, resting when my body needs to. Those are some towels I actually bought on board. They're very cool. The popcorn buckets and the resort mugs are now dry. They can go away. And then I really am running out of steam. I think there's going to be a little confession coming up. Is there a little confession? Nearly a confession time. Anyway, these bottles and toothbrushes are now clean. They're water bottles we always take away so that we can fill them up and put them in fridges if we have those in the rooms. The toothbrushes have been washed and dried. They'll be ready to go back in the case next. They have these little cover things, and that way they last a few trips, because I just don't like the idea of saliva sitting on toothbrushes, even if it's been rinsed for like days or weeks or potentially months between trips. Anyway, here comes my confession. Several days have passed since those last clips, and although I have done washing, I've done lots and lots of washing, I've not done much more than you saw. So there's still big piles of cases and things about the place and things in my bedroom that need sorted. So let's go through the post-trip reset checklist and see what I have actually managed to do. And it's quite a lot. I've done quite well. That first day, I did manage to smash it out. I do still need to wash and dry my makeup brushes. I haven't done that. There's a lot that needs to go away. But having these lists really helps my ADHD brain think, okay, this is what I've actually done. Well done, you. And this is what's left to do. Because something I struggle with is sequencing things and thinking what needs to be done first and then second. And then I end up overwhelmed and sitting on the floor in the mess going, I don't know where to start, and wasting a lot of time. So all this is the stuff in my airing cupboard. I think this is all dry and can be taken to the relevant places and put away. So I will take those to the relevant places. I don't iron them before they go into the wardrobes. I put crease releaser on them generally before I hang things up, and then if things need ironing when they come out to the wardrobe or out to the case, I have an iron in the laundry room. And generally, if we're going anywhere other than a Disney cruise, I will take a steamer with us, but they didn't allow handheld steamers on board. They did, however, have a laundry room where you could go and iron items, but often ironing things before they go into a case is a bit of a waste of time. Anyway, they come out all crinkled, so crease releaser or a steamer when you get there tends to be the way forward for like shirts and dresses and things. So all that stuff needs to go upstairs. We need to keep the washing machine going. I normally put on laundry at least once a day, generally twice a day, because there's either 5 or 6 people in the house at any given time, because our eldest is in university, so he's not home full time. But to not do any laundry at all for 6 days, we had quite the backlog, as you could see. And I know some people say, why don't you just do laundry while you're away? And if we're not on Disney trips, I have done that before now, but the Disney cruise was so busy, I felt like I barely had time to stop anyway. I mean, I could have had a nice chilled cruise, but my kids just like to do all the things. So taking time to do laundry then just wasn't really the way forward for me. So I'm having that laundry hangover and dealing with it now. Absolutely flipping boiling, by the way. It is one of those kind of muggy days where it's not especially sunny, but it's warm. So hoodie's going. Let's hang some stuff up. All these little items should hang quite and dry rather quite quickly by putting them in here, because most of them are quite flimsy little summer things anyway. And like I said, it is quite warm. So I've got like active dresses, the girls' dresses, all this stuff that some of it technically is tumble dryable, but I avoid tumble drying any of our normal clothes where I can, because I find it wears the fabrics more and they just look more worn. If it comes to things like school uniform, that stuff's all going in the dryer. That just all gets abused. Pajamas, underwear, other than bras actually, but underwear, socks, towels, pajamas, all that stuff all goes in the tumble dryer. But anything that might get a bit shrunk or a bit worn, I tend to just hang up first as last. Dries sort of more in shape, so it needs less ironing anyway. And yeah, it just wears it less. So things like Disney t-shirts or whatever. Okay, all this stuff, all that big pile of stuff has been sitting there for days. I still haven't washed my makeup brushes. We need to do that in a minute, because otherwise next time I try and use them, it's going to be all the same old gunk and grease and grossness, and I'm going to get spots, and that's no fun for anyone. So the bags are hung up. They're super cute on little hooks in the children's bedrooms. Now we need to tackle some of this, put away the ears. The girls have hooks for ears in their bedrooms on the side of their calics. They're just these little stick-on hooks. It's a nice way to display them, store them. We have more ears than this, as I'll show you later in the video. But at least some of them are on display and they look cute. So those just need to go away. They do sort of get knocked quite, if you knock them, they fall off quite easily, but they do look cute. So I do stand by that. This is my packing cube of stuff that I took that didn't actually get worn. So some of it was underwear for outfits I didn't wear. Some of it was workout wear. Because did I go to the gym on the cruise? No, I didn't. I went on the last cruise once. This time I didn't get that. There's quite a bit on this cruise that we just didn't get to because there's so much to do on board. But it is a bit of a choose your own adventure thing. So ultimately I took clothing for things I didn't get around to doing. And that's why this is a packing cube of stuff that was clean that's going straight away. This is the case of stuff that's sort of pre-packed for the next trip. So the clean, dry toothbrushes going back in there, the water bottles, so we can fill those up in places and put them in mini fridges for water going back in there. That's more pixie dust and things, and that's just going away in my cupboard. And the other case is mostly empty. And then there's some stuff that lives under the bed. Things like the shorts that go under my dresses I wear to Disney, they just live in a packing cube because I literally only wear those on Disney trips. There's some swimwear that we only really use, that big petticoat thing that I wear under dresses at Disney that I never wear any other time. I've got a bag of ears under there that I need to pull out, sort and add. There it is. Gosh, told you we had lots of ears. Anyway, they need to be put in properly because they were just all jumbled, and then we can actually add more to them, because when things are slotted in neatly, you can fit more stuff in the bag. Those bags are amazing, by the way, those zippy storage bags, because you can see what's inside them. They're really durable and they're good for packing things away. I put things up the attic in them, under the bed. They're also really good for things like when the girls are in shows, they've got costumes and stuff. So yeah, just really good multi-purpose bags. I buy those for lots of different things. Now let's clean my makeup brushes. I literally just use a little bit of soap on this little bobbly tray thing and water. I normally, if I'm just doing like a quick cleanse, I've got some makeup cleansing, like an alcohol spray. But for a slightly deeper clean to really get the gunk out, I just use a tiny bit of hand soap. Baby shampoo you can use as well. I just use the hand soap. I'm sure that's fine. I'm sure some makeup gurus will tell me that's the wrong thing to do, but it gets them clean for me. And now that's my bedroom clean of stuff. It was full of a big pile of junk, and now it's clear again. Hooray! That's so nice because it was really doing my head in. So let's go back through my post-trip reset checklist now. Almost all of the laundry is done. Not every single tiny bit, because catching up on this stuff does take some time. But the house is still looking a lot better. So join me inside of my Organised Life Club for all these printables. Click on the playlist on screen if you want to keep resetting and organising with me and just getting our lives together and sorted. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.